Blunt Talk with LT episode 118. This episode's brought to you by StackWap.com. StackWap.com/shop for your SGE merch. Use promo code Blunt Talk, capital B, capital T, no space, for 10% off everything in the SGE store. Shout out to my subscribers. Shout out to my day one subscribers. Shout out to my new subscribers. We growing every day. We growing towards 10,000. Once we reach that 10,000 mark, there's all sorts of new features and a lot of new things I'll be able to do on the podcast. We're gonna start the live stream soon. I've been working on getting that sturdy so I can actually communicate to the audience. We can talk back. We could take the podcast to the next level, because then I could actually listen to a lot of. Okay, I'm not even gonna explain a lot of the shit that I'm gonna be doing. A lot of new things coming very, very soon, in the works, on the way. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all that shit, because there's going to be a lot of extras and a lot of things that don't actually work on YouTube that will be downloadable on the actual podcast. So download the audio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, wherever you download or consume your podcast. Make sure that you subscribe. All sorts of shit on the way. It's about to be crazy. But okay, so let's get into it. Not a good week for hip hop when it comes to, not a good year when it really comes to a lot of violence when it comes to the hip hop. When it comes to like rappers getting shot, killed and shit. It's not a good look. It's not a good year. This week alone, terrible. Okay, so let's get into the specifics. Let me just pull up these articles so we can be factually correct when we, talk about this shit. Okay, so Benny the Butcher recently shot in Houston. TMZ reports that he was shot. 5 guys pulled up in a car. He was just like stepping out of the Walmart with a couple of his guys, and they tried to rob him and his of his jewelry or whatever, and his guys, and they resisted. Benny the Butcher was shot in the leg, and they fled. The robbers, the attempted robbers, fled the scene. Police, what did the police got? The police got nothing. But that's, they got the report. So TMZ's putting out this report. This is what, third or fourth rapper shot this week. Hopefully everything goes good with Benny the Butcher. Hopefully this is not gonna. He's in stable condition, so it's not gonna be like life threatening. But hopefully this is not like gonna fuck up his leg forever, where he's like not gonna be able to walk the same and shit. So hopefully he just recovers well. This is like a random attack. It's like he's New York, like Benny Butcher. He's what, from Buffalo and shit. Like they ain't from Houston. I bet he don't. I don't think it's related to any potential problems that he may have and be dealing with some sort of repercussions from some sort of issues and shit like that. I don't think it's any of that. I think it's some random attack, because really, really and truly, when you look at it, not even just Houston, Texas in a whole has been wild recently. This past week in Texas has been wild. All sorts of shit's been happening. So it's a random attack. They targeted Benny, but hopefully everything goes well with him. Recently, was it yesterday now? Boosie was shot in Houston, or in Dallas. Yeah, he was shot in Dallas. Also shot in the leg. It's like, you're going to shoot Boosie in the leg now? It's like, niggas is out here really shooting at Boosie. Why would, honestly, I'm looking at this shit. I'm like, yo, I don't know what's going on in Houston. Not even Houston. I'm not going to put it all on Houston. I don't know what's going on in Texas, the whole state, because that shit was in Dallas. Mo 3 was recently shot in Dallas. R.I.P. It's like, how many rappers is getting shot this year? How many rappers is going to die this year? This shit is wild. This is not a good year for hip-hop. Too many L's, too many losses. Fuck. It's crazy. There's been more angles and more footage coming out in regards to the murder. Hold on, let me just pull up the footage. Make sure I got everything. Okay, yeah, so there's more footage that came out for King Von's murder. Basically, not the actual murder on footage, just the fight that happened prior to the murder. So this footage, let's just watch the footage, the new footage that came out, and then react to this. No sound in the footage, of course. Okay, so this is King Von in the white right here, walking up on Quando Rondo. Okay, so because of that footage, not just solely because of that footage, but Lul Timm's defense team, according to many sources, including DJ Academics, their defense team is going with self-defense claims and saying that King Von was the aggressor in the incident and Lul Timm was just protecting his friend, artist, whatever their relationship is in their defense. He's claiming he was protecting him. And they're using the self-defense, they're trying to say they were outnumbered. Other guys may have had firearms at the incident, and they're saying pretty much it's self-defense. So that's what they're going with right now in regards to the case going on. And that new footage is evidence that they're trying to use to claim that King Von was the aggressor in the I don't know how it's gonna work in Georgia. I don't know how the self-defense and stand your ground laws and all these things work in Georgia and how it's going to play out in the court of law. But we've seen a lot of self-defense things go in the favor of the person that actually shot and killed the person, and they actually won the self-defense claim. A lot of times we've seen this many times in cases in Georgia. I don't know what grounds or why they actually won those cases because I'm not a lawyer and I did not look into all of those cases in depth to see why the self-defense was a valid claim. But, that's what they're going with, and it is what it is. We'll see what happens with that. But, yeah, it's fucked up. It's just a bad week in hip-hop, bad year. What else do we got here? Okay, so 50 recently put out a tweet saying, "Thank you for praying for my boy Jeremiah. He's responsive today, doing a little better." Pretty much, showing his prayers and support to Jeremiah, who was recently diagnosed with COVID, and he had a pretty rough time with COVID recently. And I don't know, whenever you hear people and you hear like celebrities and a lot of people talk about COVID, it's either two ways, where it's like they don't feel it at all and it's just weird for a few days and they can't taste or smell or whatever, and then other people are hit by it so hard and it's like they're down for the count and they're almost dying and shit, and it's like everybody's putting their support. Obviously we wish them well, but it's like the tale of two stories. It's like some people really get affected, some people don't, and because certain people don't, and a lot of people don't know anybody that has, a lot of people think it's bullshit still to this day. With all the precautionary measures that people have to follow, people still think the shit is bullshit. The cases announced every day, the famous celebrities that people hear that get it, people still feel like it's bullshit unless they know somebody that gets it. Until it hits home, a lot of people don't get it. And for me, whether I know somebody that has it or not, I won't go on a platform and try to dig into some conspiracy theories because, plenty of people got it and people say they have it and people are sick or whatever. Okay, I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theory behind it, but I won't say that because a lot of people that say it and vocalize it end up getting it, and it's weird. It's like some weird ass curse. Elon Musk recently came out and said, hold on, let me pull up exactly what Elon Musk said before I go quoting him on what he said. But he was definitely skeptical of the whole situation, and he had like 4 tests taken. Okay, let me read the tweet. He said something extremely bogus is going on. Was tested for COVID 4 times today. 2 tests came back negative. 2 tests came back positive. Same machine, same test, same nurse. Rapid antigen test from BD. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, yo, these numbers are going crazy right now. Elon Musk, someone from the beginning that said the COVID scare and the crisis was like people were overreacting to it, didn't really believe that I don't know if he believed that the shutdowns were necessary, but he felt like the panic was, he tweeted at one point that the panic was an overreaction. And he got 4 tests, and then 2 positive, 2 negative. He's skeptical of it, and it's like, you see why. It's very weird that he got 2 tests or 2 negatives, 2 positives. I don't know in which order he got those negatives and positives, but I don't know. I'm not going to dig into the conspiracy. He's skeptical of it. It is what it is. I'm going to leave it at that. A lot of people are, but it is what it is. Is he sick? Is he recovering well? He should still stay isolated if he got the positive test, and then maybe if he gets tested again in 2 weeks and it's all negative and there's no weird positives, then he could say something. But I don't know. I don't know the intricate details to that and why it's like that. I just know what he said in that tweet. Not going to overreact too much to that. Okay, so Johnny Depp recently exits the Fantastic Beasts franchise after losing one of those the cases to Amber Heard for the domestic dispute. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, what evidence they got against him or defense did they got against Amber Heard? Because I distinctly remember the phone calls and the evidence coming out with her admitting to kicking his ass and hitting him, and she's saying, Johnny, stop being a little bitch. And he just talked about having to defend himself, and she cut like off his finger. I remember that. I put out the video. I reacted to that. She cut off his finger and shit, or a piece of his finger, and like shat in his bed and all sorts of crazy shit. I'm like, how did he lose that? Now he's losing jobs and shit. And the more and more I take in the woman to male domestic violence, like women beating on men, it's like, yeah, you hear so many stories of it, but like most people don't feel sorry for men. They're like, yeah, niggas could just take it. Like, you could take a little beating. What are these little girls really doing to mans? And it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, you're really putting people's life in jeopardy when you're doing these type of things. It's bad both ways. Women should keep their hands to themselves too. I always talk on this show about men not hitting women and all this, refrain from hitting women shit, but women need to not hit men too, because it could go ugly. It's like, I always talk about men should separate themselves from the situation if women should, try to put their hands on them, but I feel like I should put more, I shouldn't put more, like, I shouldn't, actually I should definitely put more accountability on the women actually hitting the dudes, but I should put more focus, not just more accountability, more focus on the women getting away with always hitting dudes and shit, because dudes ain't trying to call the cops and put girls behind bars for hitting dudes. That's why when they look at the numbers and they look like it's so skewed, like men are just beating up women and the domestic violence is one way. It's because they're not reporting it the same way. It's the extreme cases where women are getting violent, throwing objects, using weapons, damaging property. That's when, dudes decide to, take it to the authorities, and those are the cases that get reported. But most times, dudes are just getting beat in silence. They're just Johnny tight lips taking the ass whooping and moving upon their life. So it's like, at some point, people got to see it the way where it's like, okay, there has to be something fair. I don't know the intricacies and the details and the minutia of the case. So maybe there's some other shit that, her defense and her defense, and, they probably, I don't know what they did, but it is what it is. It sucks for Johnny Depp. Hopefully he's not going to lose too many jobs from this and too many, opportunities in Hollywood. But I'm pretty sure it's going to blow over, and then he's going to get a bunch of jobs later on. So it is what it is. You know how Hollywood is. People want to protect themselves from bad press, and once the bad press blows over, it's like people are free to live again. What else do we got here? Okay, this is old, but it keeps getting pop. People keep popping this back up and speaking about this and trying to make some sort of Meg Thee Stallion, Chromos beef because Chromos is spotted with Tory Lanez in this video. This is like 2 weeks old now. I don't even know why there's still discussions about this. Let's watch this video right here.
Finish shot! Finish shot! This way. All right, come on. Finish shot. Finish shot! Finish shot!
Okay, so Chromos said in a video that, you know, if you don't think Meg's a snitch, then you're a hypocrite or you're a snitch or some bullshit like that, comparing her to 6ix9ine. I can't remember exactly what she said, but she's pretty much saying Meg's a snitch. And then, you know, she's spotted with Tory Lanez in this video. I could have swore this is old, but I swear I did a reaction to this. I didn't do a reaction to this before. It's like, damn. I don't know. It is what it is. That's her opinion. Tory Lanez is rocking with her. He's rocking with her. But he said that he was still friends. I don't know. This situation is confusing. At this point, I don't really care. This whole Tory Meg shit, it's like, whatever. People stirring up the Chromos Meg shit. I don't see it happening. I don't think. Well, for me, it's like the way I look at it. If you're in Chromos's camp or you're on her team, or you're looking at this, it's like a good way to get more publicity, get more notoriety nationwide. But because she's local at this point, I don't know. It is what it is. We'll see where that goes. I don't think that's going to develop into much. It's 2 weeks old and people are still trying to bring this up and talk about this in forums and on Twitter and shit. So, you know, it is what it is. Okay. So the officer charged in the Breonna Taylor case accused of sexual assault. Okay, so the one officer that they charged in the Breonna Taylor case, which didn't really charge him for the murder of Breonna Taylor. They kind of charged him. What did they call the thing? They charged him for some next shit. Pretty much, they charged him for the shots that didn't kill her, that could have hit somebody else. I can't remember what they called it right now. I should have definitely pulled it up, because when I heard the term, I was like, really? That's what they called it? It was a weird term. Someone in the comment section is probably going to put it in, but it is what it is. Pause. Super pause. Okay, so it's like this guy clearly had some dirt, clearly had some baggage, accused of sexual assault. It's like they scapegoated this guy because they knew he was a piece of shit. And, you know, he's going to have to face the charges that come to him. He was the only person charged in the case, and it's like, yeah, we're going to use this guy. This guy seems a little dirty, a little muddy. We're going to scapegoat this guy because that whole thing, that whole Breonna Taylor case, the whole situation with them running up in the crib with the no-knock warrant, the judge stamping it, the officer doing the shady business to even get the warrant, stamped by the judge. All that shit was a complete mess, and there's so much people that should be held accountable for that, but they're gonna scapegoat the one guy, and they're like, this guy is a piece of shit anyway, so we're gonna let him hang and we're gonna get him all the bad publicity, but he's still not gonna have the full consequences, and Breonna Taylor's not gonna get the full justice for having her murderer behind bars. But this is what I'm this is what we've grown to be accustomed to, and this is what we're fighting against. Got to reform and change shit like this, but people are always gonna scapegoat accountability and try to put it on somebody else and be like, hey, this is the guy. We're gonna give him 4 years from some sexual assault and 2 years for the bullets that he missed or some shit, and then that time's gonna get cut in half for 3 years. And like, it's just gonna. It is what it is. Most times we don't even get, we get officers charged and shit, but no one actually gets sentenced. So we'll see if he actually gets sentenced, because usually they get off, and that's why people are so mad. But it is what it is. Okay, so Dr. Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson gets a lot of shit, a lot of negativity, a lot of people hating on him on the internet. I've said some objectively, reacting to things, said some negative things about some of the things he said and done on the internet. But like, even when Lord Jamar was talking about his school not being done, I'm like, yo, what's taking so long? Everyone's talking about the donors and the years that it's taken. It's like, yo, what's taking so long with the school? But when he's right and when he's doing something right, all right, and the naysayers are wrong, you have to acknowledge it. And recently he's put out a series of videos showing him painting, having his volunteers and his supporters there painting the school, getting things set up in the school. The school looks pretty large. It looks like a pretty nice school. Of course, it's not complete, so there's certain parts that look raw that need to be, renovated, obviously. But the school is there. He actually has the school. He's painting it. He's setting it up. He has YouTube videos going at the naysayers and the haters. So he has, a brash personality, a rough delivery. He's a bit cocky and confident in his shit, but it's like that's not all negative at the end of the day. Some of that shit could be good. It's just the approach he gives sometimes turns a lot of people off from supporting him. It makes him seem like a fraudster, but the school is being built, so you got to give him credit. It's like, yeah, it took so long, but it is what it is. It's a big school. He had a certain vision. He didn't want to corrupt his vision with other people's methods, and he did what he had to do. And hopefully I'm not celebrating something that doesn't end up being complete and it's some bullshit. But hopefully, he gets the shit underway and the school gets complete. I'm still gonna, I still say that school should be, boys and girls, not just a boys' school. That all boys' school shit is weird, but he'll probably tell me, if you don't like it, start your own school. This is his school. The FDMG Academy is going to be ran that way. Afrocentric, only black boys, all that shit he's been talking about. That's his vision. It is what it is. But I don't know. I like that. I like the vision of it, but I wouldn't send my kid to an all-boys school. He needs to intermingle with some girls socially, because that'll make kids socially awkward. In my opinion, it'll make people socially awkward and weird around girls. I don't know about that, but it is what it is. The one positive thing in this episode, we're gonna be right back at it, focusing on some next shit, changing up the focus on the next episode. Not gonna be stuck on one type of topic, because at the end of the day, this is Blunt Talk with LT. It's supposed to be raw breakdowns of everything and anything. I can't be stuck in a box. I try to tell people I'm not going to talk about the same shit every time on the show, because it, stirred up a conversation and got you interested. And at the end of the day, it's like I'm going to talk about every topic. I'm going to get into everything that I want to talk about, anything that's going on actively, just kind of warrants my opinion and my, objectivity on it. I'll speak on it. So we're not going to get stuck in the box. Going to bring a little bit more sports back to the podcast, but also bringing back Ball Talk Daily. I already brought it back, so subscribe to Ball Talk Daily on Apple Podcasts and all that shit. Yeah, we back at it. Blunt Talk with LT. Make sure that you subscribe, like all the clips, like the episodes. Make sure that you comment. It helps the algorithm. Engage with the community. All that shit. Yep.